has given Donald Trump a political opportunity, and he's jumping on it. He's going to East Palestine today. He's bringing with him thousands of gallons of cleaning materials and tens of thousands of bottles of water. It's obvious what he's doing. Trump is showing up the Biden team's weak response. Neither the president nor the transportation secretary have visited, but Trump is going to be there, handing out supplies to people.
We've been here for them, and even a few days ago we had some of our top people come up, and it's an honor. And we're here today in East Palestine to show our love and support for our fellow Americans in this hour of need, and that's what it is. It was an hour of need, but they've done some incredible work in a very short period of time, and they're getting a lot of credit for it, and they have to be getting credit. We tell you that when they do good.
Now, when it comes to the crypto ecosystem, I mean, how much of it has to do with the FTX incident, for instance?
Well, you know, a few years ago, crypto assets and cryptocurrencies were in a way put as an alternative to fiat money. I think that battle has been won. Technology doesn't make for trusted money. The most important aspect is for these activities not to have a systemic impact. I mean, at the end of the day, if this grows dramatically and we have events like FTX, that at some point could have a systemic impact. And that's something that we want certainly to prevent.
You have a vision of the future monetary system, a unified programmable ledger. Give us a sense of why and what the vision hopes to achieve eventually.
What we want is to lay the ground, the infrastructure for a modern financial system. Now, the technology is moving very fast. We have a very solid foundation. So the idea is basically to use that solid foundation, incorporate the new technologies, and facilitate the development of a future financial system.
What gaps in particular are you trying to fill?
Well, one, of course, is that financial system as efficient as it is today is still full of transaction costs, compliance costs too. So one very important motivation is to reduce those frictions as much as possible. The other thing is to onboard more people more easy. For example, one of the main issues related to lack of sufficient inclusion is that precisely transaction costs are very, very high. Therefore, to manage small payments or to give access to small firms, so small, medium-sized enterprises, or services to people in remote areas is still a major problem.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And guys, remember, your life is an illusion and TV is your reality. We have Trump in Ohio. And not only was Trump in Ohio, the same fireman guy that's standing behind him is the same one that was pushing the digital ID biometric devices. Yes, guys, you cannot make this stuff up. And then we have the BIS. Says that crypto as an alternative to the fiat system has been defeated. And what does he bring up? He brings up FTX, which we know the NWO, the central banks, were behind in the first place. We know FTX was a centralized exchange. But we know the masses have no idea. But he gave the central bank's agenda, the unified programmable ledger. And guys, we know they want to tell you what, where, and when and how to buy it. And you have 3 to 6 months to spend it or poof, it's gone. And we know they're going to dangle that carrot talking about low cost. But guys, they're the ones who's saving the money. And then we have the NWO taps Mike Pence. Yes, they bring the puppets right out the closet when it's time to bring on their agenda. And he talks about the debt ceiling, making changes to Social Security. And he had the nerve to bring up Bush. And guys, you know, I did a couple of videos on Bush giving the Social Security to the people in order to put it in the stock market. And what happened to the stock market? It plummeted. And what would have happened to their Social Security? It would have been gone. Guys, you have to realize the people that you're dealing with. And Mike Pence talked about physical discipline. Now it's time to no longer spend the money that we used to. This 15-year money expansion is over. And we know the American people are used to consuming. And that's the reason why credit card debt, loan debt is going through the roof. Remember, 64% of the American population lives paycheck to paycheck. And then, guys, we have the Fed's bullet. And we know the Fed is fighting the inflation that they caused. And why did they cause it, guys? In order to destroy this legacy market. America to Babylon along with the world reserve currency in order to give rise to China the Dragon along with that digital yuan backed by that digital SDR. And for the robots, algorithms, and drones that take over the economy, pay each other with crypto while the sheep go inside the metaverse. And remember, the crypto teacher told you because he knows when it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Well, but revenue still went up, Joe.
Okay.
Revenues went up.
And then the next point, the aging population exerts steady upward pressure on Social Security and Medicare. There's no way to get around these things, but neither party seems to have, they're both feckless, it seems like, in addressing these things for the American people.
Well, I think, look, use whatever terms you want to use. I mean, what we have is an establishment in Washington, D.C. that is walking away from this problem, but they're whistling past the graveyard. Right. And we're gonna drop the, and I want to put that number out to your viewers again, because I don't think it's widely known. I mean, if we just stay on the trajectory we're on, based on CBO, based on reasonable projections of revenues, spending, and deficits, we could have $150 trillion national debt in 30 years. And at that point, every choice is bad. Every choice that
I don't disagree with you. The question is, how do you do it?
You can't grow.
In 30 years, you've got to either double payroll taxes, introduce some kind of European taxation system, or cut benefits to people that really need them. Now we could bring about common sense reforms that would never impact anybody at the point of the need, and it would phase in the kind of changes that, can I just say to you, you know who had the best idea about Social Security reform?
No, who?
Franklin Delano Roosevelt. You go back at the time that FDR signed Social Security into law, and you may not even know this, he said this will begin as a public program. He said then it will eventually become a public and private program, but eventually a good way to do a private annuity. He actually said that Social Security would eventually give way to a private annuity, to personal savings accounts, that we'd facilitate that for America. We've never done it. It's remained a public program funded by payroll taxes. And the fact that we didn't introduce this idea back when President Bush introduced it in 2005, I think was a profound missed opportunity, because back then we had money in the trust fund in ways that we don't now. But it's an idea, I believe, whose time will come. Andrew, I'm telling you, if we sit people down at the table, people of goodwill, you're straight with the American people, we can figure this thing out. The Constitution requires that we maintain the full faith and credit of the United States, and the Congress is going to figure that out. But I commend Speaker McCarthy for saying that we ought to make a down payment on fiscal discipline in a very real sense. Look, the issue is spending. As I travel all across this country, families are hurting. I mean, inflation ignited to a 40-year high after the Democrat Congress 2 years ago spent $1.9 trillion in unnecessary COVID spending, another trillion nearly at the end of that Democrat majority. So I'm glad to see the Republican majority saying we need to use this debt ceiling to start us back in the direction of fiscal discipline.
Good question,
have I told you guys my war story?
Okay.
So what you can do, just step back for a moment, and when you see inflation around the world across history, it's often associated with wars, and World War I, World War II. But think of the pandemic as a war, a global fight against the virus. And so what happens in a war? The government spends a lot without asking too many questions about the future taxes. And the monetary authority is asked to keep interest rates low to help the war effort. That usually produces inflation. That happened this time. Then to get out of that, the fiscal policy has to switch back to the pre-war regime, which I think has happened because now you have divided government, and the monetary guys have to switch back and start fighting the inflation. I think that's also happened. So I think we have a good shot, if you believe that story, we have a good shot at beating inflation in 2023. The 5%, I think we are going to have to get north of 5%. Right now I'm still at 5 3/8. Joe, we're going back to eighths.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't.
5 3/8. So
5 3/8 is fine. 7.
Well, wait. Let's hear that. Let's hear it.
5 3/8. So we got a little ways to go here, and I've argued that hey, let's get to where we want to go, and then from there we can see how the data come in. Let's hope that we get disinflation in 2023. But right now, it came in hotter than we thought.
I don't think Steve.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.